Hello, I hope all of you are having an awesome day today. Night, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is out there. Let's get it started by watching a quick video.
Dude, you can take a breath. It's okay.
Bank Investigation Protective Services. PTO is 15847.
Looks like he's supposed to have an anxiety attack. Are you okay?
Oh no, I just came from my station to come over here.
No, I'm talking about like your breathing. Are you okay?
You got a brand on there?
You look like you're having anxiety or something.
Badge number 75. What's your name there? Like everybody or something?
Are you guys going to identify yourselves?
If you have a district county hospital. You have a state license, correct? Through the BSIS?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you understand that the BSIS policy is that if a citizen asks to see your guard card, you must display it.
I am not aware of that.
You're not aware of that? You should really investigate that. Also, you're supposed to have your name on your uniform by per state law.
Really?
Yes, it's on the BSIS uniform policy.
Yeah, cool.
Can you be a professional and identify
So also
yourself?
report your company that the guards are not properly uniformed. Have a nice day, sir.
So I wasn't able to show you the complete video. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for the more complete video, and apparently there's a video that precedes that video. It looks like that there was a group of First Amendment auditors. They got together, did a collaboration, and it spread. The incident is spread along two different videos. I was only able to capture the last video, which is the video that you saw. I have no idea where the other video is at for the reason, and that video should show the whole reason for the whole encounter. I don't have access to the video, so I'm gonna discuss some of the things that was shown on video. So what we have here is we have a First Amendment auditor, and these groups of people, they're exercising their First Amendment freedom of free speech. They'll record private security, law enforcement doing their day-to-day activities. Most of the time, if you just let them do what they do, they typically leave you alone. But when you try to stop them, then they will have more of an entertainment session with you, and you're captured on video. And most people who are shown on the video, they don't do a really good job with explaining what it is they need to explain to the First Amendment auditors. So that's what First Amendment auditors typically do. So what we have here is our private security officer. I'm not sure what area this is. I think this is Kern County. Working and doing a great job at it. Now, the First Amendment auditor has a very important role in society. That person maintains government accountability by documenting certain instances of possible government malfeasance. Maybe there's some questionable activity that the government is engaged in, and the First Amendment auditor records that activity. It holds the government, their activity holds the government accountable. I see that. But this is the thing where these First Amendment auditors lose a lot of respect. In the video, it looks like they're badgering our private security officer, and they're badgering him and saying, or asking him, are you having a panic attack? Okay? And they're asking because of his breathing. And is he having a panic attack? I don't know. Is he frustrated? Probably. But let's just say he does have panic disorder. It's messed up, okay? 2.4 million Americans suffer from panic disorder. And if you ever had a panic attack, you speak to somebody who has a panic attack, it feels like you're going to die. It feels like you're going to have a heart attack. Your heart just feels like it's crushing and you can't breathe and you feel like you're going to collapse. It's a horrible feeling. About 11% of Americans have experienced a panic attack sometime in their lifetime. So for these First Amendment auditors to make a mockery of somebody that might have a panic attack doesn't fall well within my books. That's totally messed up. Now, had I been the auditor, I would at least say this. I would shut the camera off, okay, if I feel like he is having a panic attack, and say, hey, dude, are you okay? Are you okay? Is there anything that I can do? I noticed that you're having problems breathing. You might have a panic attack. Dude, I apologize. I apologize for what I'm doing, but are you okay? And if I find out maybe he wasn't having a panic attack, he just may be frustrated, maybe I'll just air the video anyways. But that's what I do. I'm not going to just show the video. Now, some might argue, well, that's what we asked if he was okay. Well, none of that information, or we asked off camera if he's okay. None of that information is present in the description of the video. Okay, to me it looks like they're bullying. It's kind of like pick on somebody your own size, but in a way kind of pick on somebody that is maybe in management, maybe has some type of supervisor authority, or maybe the owner of the private security company. But to pick on this guy that's just trying to do his job, I don't think it was done in a cordial manner. And this is why I believe this is not done in a cordial manner. Okay, they're pushing these issues with the private security officer, and these private or these First Amendment auditors don't really have a firm understanding on the Business and Professions Code, yet they pretend as if they know what they're doing. And our private security officer is buying a little bit into it. But this is what a lot of people haven't captured, is our private security officer, he, in a way, okay, he knows what he's doing. The whole issue is, where's your name tag? And let me see your credentials. Number one, okay, he does not have to wear a name tag. And something deep in the video tells me that our private security officer knows that. Okay, he knows that. Second, he does not have to give his credentials to the public. Okay, you have to give the credentials, your guard card. And see, in California, we have what's called a guard card, and that's your private security guard registration, private security officer registration credentials. And you have to show that to either BSIS, that's the Bureau of Security Investigative Services. They are the regulatory arm for private security and private investigation professionals in the state of California. That's BSIS. So you have to show your credentials to BSIS on demand, or law enforcement on demand. But the private citizen that's demanding those credentials, there's no laws that cover that. Now, I could be wrong, but generally, if you own the security business, own the security company or the private investigation company, you generally have to post your license, okay, your private patrol operations or private security company license in a public location, a place that's conspicuous, a place where the general public can easily find it. Okay, but the Business Professions Code says nothing about private security presenting that on demand to the private citizen. Now, I could be wrong. There might be some section that's in there. I'm not an attorney, you guys know that, but most likely these First Amendment auditors, they're probably not attorneys either. They probably has less knowledge and training in the Business Professions Code than I do. Now, I am not an expert in the Business Professions Code, but I have written 2 books that cover the Business Professions Code, and they are reviewed heavily by licensed attorneys. Okay, that does not mean these books are legal advice, but there's a lot of fact checking that was done. Okay, so if I'm wrong, then you guys cite me the section, okay, that shows I'm wrong. I'm always willing to change my stance on things. Okay, but to be clear, these private auditors, these First Amendment auditors, they're in the wrong. Okay, you're telling this guard who, now just based on the behavior, it looks like he has very little confidence in the issue right now at the moment. Maybe he's confident in other abilities, but this is something that's thrown out of nowhere. And I believe that it's the private security company that employs him, the qualified management supervision, that has failed him. That they have failed to prepare him for something like this. Okay? And what I like about these videos is I make the videos, you guys comment, you guys offer suggestions and opinions. Private security companies, there are several of them that watch the videos and they show the videos as part of training or briefing to their private security staff or private investigation staff. And I really appreciate you guys when you do that. Now, again, it's not legal advice and not professional advice, but it's grounds for discussion. Okay, you can have a discussion with your partners, your subordinates, other supervisors, or other private security or private investigation owners. I mean, these videos create some discussion, and that's what my whole goal of these videos, many of these videos are, to use as a training tool. Okay, so I think had our private security officer known with confidence what the Business and Professions Code says, he would probably appear a little bit more confident on video. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, how can I handle something like this? Well, there's a couple of ways. Number one is just leave them alone, just let them keep yakking, and just stay quiet. You can just leave. You're not obligated to speak to them most of the time. What you could also ask for or demand of them, just say, hey, you know what? I don't have the answers to these questions. The questions that you asked me are an issue that I'm not privileged to discuss. However, you could speak to my PIO, Public Information Officer. Most of these First Amendment auditors, they know what a PIO is. They know that's the PR person, the person they go to when they have questions. That's who the media seeks. Okay, is a PIO. They are the Public Information Officer, as I discussed, but most of the time they're going to tell you, well, you know what, you're the PIO. I call them right now at the moment, and obviously if they don't show up in a minute or two, then they start firing the questions to you. Or they might just say, hey, I don't want to talk to the PIO, I want to talk to you. You're a representative of the company. And then that's when you explain, you know what, my job duties are to patrol this premises, be vigilant, look for criminal activity, or any activity that disrupts the normal business operations of our client. Okay, something that disrupts the business, and that's what my job is. My job duty is not a PIO, so you're gonna have to contact my PIO. Okay, you can say that. You cannot answer. Now me, I like to be challenged. I do have some First Amendment auditors that will comment on some of these videos, and they will cite a case law, and we'll have a discussion about it. And I'm always open to change. I'm always open to interpretation. You provide me case law that applies under the current facts, even a statute, a criminal code, business professions code, civil code. You show me something, and as long as the facts apply to it, I'm willing to change my stance. Okay, I'll make that clear. So I like to engage in a discussion with them. I would say, look, man, or sir or ma'am, you present the business profession code or the authority that says that I have to present my licenses to you upon public demand, or that I have to wear a name tag, then I will present it to you. Okay, I like the challenge. Okay, because I'm confident in my knowledge of the business professions code and other state laws in there. I'm very confident. So that's what I would suggest to them. And if they can't come up with anything, they're down here on the leveraging ground. Okay, there's very little for negotiation because they lost all credibility. Everything they say now and to the future doesn't hold a lot of credibility because they're just spitting out false information out there. Okay, and by the way, in California, you just have to have the name of the private security company, the words private security, and a badge number that corresponds with an actual employee, okay, with a personnel file. Public doesn't have access to that. But our guard that's shown on the video, he's in the right. As long as there's a badge number, he's in the right. Now, again, I could be wrong. There might be some section out there that may have missed, but I think that my word should be considered more than the First Amendment auditors that are shown on this video. Again, I've written 2 books on the subject that have been highly criticized by attorneys. These First Amendment auditors, I don't know what they have published that was under strict criticism. Okay, maybe there's something. If there's something, that leave in the comment section below. Okay, but I like to engage in a discussion with them. Show me I'm wrong, and I'm willing to change my stance on something. Okay, show me some case law, I'm willing to change also. But again, the facts have to apply, or the case law has to apply to the current situation. In case law, there's different facts all the time. If the facts are not similar, then most of the time, the case law that's developed does not apply to the current situation. Okay. So, another thing that I want to say, consider, not as a law enforcement officer, but maybe as a private security professional. If you get this close in my face with a camera, there's a huge issue. And I'm just speaking on private security work that I would maybe engage in, not law enforcement. You get this close to me with a camera, there's a problem. Number one, hey, social distancing rules say 6 feet, right? 6 feet. This is coronavirus season, or maybe we're a bit over it, but there's a general acceptance of 6 feet. You better get out of my 6 feet, okay? If I have to step out into a public street and potentially get ran over because you won't move out of the way, we have a problem with that, okay? There's an argument for false imprisonment, okay? If I have to potentially get injured because you won't move out of the way because you want to stand there and film me and block the street, there's going to be a problem with that, okay? You put the camera in my face in a quick and rapid manner that draws some apprehension on me. I believe that I'm about to be assaulted. Maybe I have to move back because I don't want to get hit with your camera. There's something that could potentially happen to that camera, okay? If the camera falls as a result of my actions, okay, I could easily justify why I did what I did, okay? If I intentionally push it out of the way so that I'm not hit with it, okay, as long as I can justify my actions, I should be in the right. Now, the potential that you have, liability, criminal liability, obviously civil liability for damaging private property or property to others. Criminal liability, potentially, because of the vandalism. If it's over $400, then you could seek a potential felony charge. But remember, felony does not cover in most jurisdictions, okay? I'm just speaking of my little knowledge of California law. Vandalism does not cover negligence, okay? It's usually an intentional act to destroy property. Now, if somebody wants to risk that $2,000 or $20,000 camera being damaged by risking it, by putting that in my face in a rapid manner, in a manner that's inconsistent with society, what society deems reasonable, there's going to be a problem, okay? And I have every right to defend myself. I'm not talking about hurting the person. I'm just talking about moving that camera out of my way, out of my direction. Now, I do not recommend that most people do this because most people cannot justify their actions in court or in front of a law enforcement officer. They do a poor job doing that. And I have well over 18, 19 years of experience to back that in a law enforcement environment. Okay, so it's better not to do those things, not to destroy property. Okay, in no way am I saying that it's okay to destroy property. I'm just talking about something that I might have to think about if I am being threatened with potentially being hit by a camera. Okay, now I encourage you not to make stuff up. I encourage you to obey the law, not defy it. Okay, but I'm also saying that you don't have to have your safety threatened. Okay, that's all what I'm saying. And the way these cameras were positioned, they were way too close to our private security officer. You're within the 6 foot rule, okay? And the cameras, it looked like too much into our guard's face, okay? If I have to move back like this, okay, to avoid being hit by your camera, then something could potentially happen to the camera, okay? That's why if you are First Amendment auditor, I highly recommend, I agree with what you do. You're exercising your Bill of Rights, but you have to do it in a courteous manner, okay? Don't violate people's space, personal space, their safety space as well. Private security officers generally need more of a safety net than private citizens, and this is why. Now, when I say that, I'm referring to private security officers that have their gun exposed, if they have one, baton, pepper spray, other defensive weapons. They need more defensible space, preferably more than 6 feet, okay? because those weapons are easily accessible by other people. If you're a private security officer, this can be one of your reasons on why that space needs to be enforced. Okay? If you're a private security officer, you find yourself in a situation, try to at least leave the area if it does not unnecessarily, unreasonably endangers the client, the safety of yourself or others. I mean, you can always back away. And if you have to back away in a private area where only when the public is not allowed, okay, that'll give you that more defensible space and time to react to the situation and tell these people, hey, you better stop. You step away from here. Now you're trespassing, okay? Before you're trespassing, but now you're not only trespassing, you're infringing on my safety by being here, okay? Now, some people might say, hey, you know what? You feel unsafe because of a camera? That's totally ridiculous. No, it's because of what's not on camera that draws some uncertainty. See, I might be able to see one hand on the camera, but with these auditors, rarely will you be able to see the other hand or their friends or their colleagues' hands. Okay, they're normally focused on the actions of the person who is in controversy to them. Okay, the cameras will usually focus on that you're not seeing what's not on camera. Okay, you can easily film somebody and hold a gun or a knife in your hand, and the general audience doesn't know that if you're the cameraman that you have a gun or a knife in your hand. Okay, they don't know these things. Okay, let me think about something else that I may have forgot. Again, I don't encourage destroying other people's property. I do encourage self-defense as long as it's reasonable. I don't encourage violence. I encourage self-defense, again, as long as it's reasonable. Okay. If you end up destroying somebody else's property, obviously there's criminal prosecution, civil, that you might have to deal with. But, this is the thing. Also, some of these cameras that they point at you, they may not be able to hurt you with them or bump into your face with them or potentially hurt you. But I'm talking about most of the DSLR cameras, the larger ones. Those you could potentially bump into while you're trying to walk away, or they could accidentally hit you with them. But the little cell phone cameras, again, there's a lot less harm that could be done to you, so you also have to consider that. Now, if you're sued, I'm not an attorney, but typically they have to produce attorney fees to draw up this lawsuit. And typically, if you lose a lawsuit, sometimes, depending on what the circumstances are, you might have to pay the other party's attorney fees. When this person is defending or prosecuting a case in civil court or even criminal court, or this party is maybe a witness, you're generally losing time off of work, or maybe you got side gigs or side hustles. You're typically losing time. So, to me, bringing one of these cases to court might cost a lot more money than I'm able to recover. So, this is just something that you definitely want to consider. Lastly, try, if you're filmed on camera, and I've made other videos on this subject, so I'm not going to go too much in detail, but try not to create something that's exciting for these First Amendment auditors. A lot of times, if you pass their First Amendment test, even if the First Amendment doesn't apply to you because you're in a public area, you're in an area that is not in an area where labor unions would generally protest. Even if they do this First Amendment test on you and you happen to pass, yes, they do post that, but those videos likely do not get a lot of likes and comments and shares than people that usually violates one's First Amendment right to first speech. Those videos typically make YouTube and the news and everywhere else. So again, try not to create an audience through your behavior. The best bet is to always try to just avoid these situations. Don't discuss anything with these people that are trying to audit you. Okay. This video is also designed for those of you who are private security professionals located on private property. This is not for law enforcement or public officials. And typically my knowledge is reserved to the state of California. Other states tend to copy each other when it comes down to case laws and other codes. But it's just that I'm more familiar with California. So I think this video applies more to California. Let me know what your thoughts are on this subject. What are ways that you could have maybe resolved the situation that you saw on video a lot better, or maybe a little bit more efficient? What are your thoughts on this? Those of you who are First Amendment auditors, I also want to know what your thoughts are on this subject. Now remember, if you throw out some case law out there, some codes out there, be prepared for debate, okay? Bring it on. You guys take care, everybody, and I don't care who you are, regardless of the color of your skin, the content of your character, what you believe in. You guys all be safe. Let's take care and let's all get along.